What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be previewing round 10 of Port Adelaide versus Melbourne at the Adelaide Oval this Friday night. It's going to be a massive game, plenty riding on this one in terms of the season, and also to see exactly where Port Adelaide stand in terms of a premiership contender for 2023. It's going to be big, it's going to be massive, it's going to be a chance of being wet, so let's get into it and preview round 10, Port Adelaide versus Melbourne. So the big talking point is this, Port fans. It's Port Adelaide. Are they going to play Charlie Dixon? Now, it's going to be one of those things where it's all about him. Ken Ingley said in his press conference that if Charlie says he's ready to go, he's going to play him. It's as simple as that. Charlie knows his body best, as we all know. So if that's the case, then he's going to play. Well, I'm hoping he plays, to be honest, because if there's any chance of us getting a decent result against the D's, it's with Charlie Dixon playing. I just don't feel like with Ollie Lord and Jeremy Finlayson there is a big, tall avenue to goal. Now, I did say it could be a chance of being wet. It's going to be 17, 1 to 5 mil of rain in the morning and afternoon. Very much could clear by the evening. But in saying that, it's the Adelaide weather. Anything can happen, and that thing could bucket down all bloody night. So with that in mind, maybe having Charlie out won't be such a big loss if it is wet. We do have very good smalls around the ball that can apply that pressure and hit the scoreboard. McAtee's been in great form. Bonner looked really good down forward. Darcy Burns-Jones will definitely be fine and coming back into the side this week. So we do have those avenues. Power Pepper as well, as I mentioned, with the smalls. So it's one of those things where if I don't see the risk. I don't see the risk why we need to play him round 10. You know, we've been on a 6-game winning streak. We're 7-2. There's no big concern about the season as yet. We're just playing it week by week. We'd get Marshall and Dixon back next week. Obviously, Marshall out with concussion protocols, and I feel like him having a rest even next week would be paying it due diligence and really getting a solid run in for Todd to be able to have a good second half of the season with a bit of consistency there and not as many head knocks. But just back on Charlie, he's so prominent. He can play in both conditions. He's got very good hands regardless. He's going to be a high impact player and will create those opportunities for the smalls. Now, Ollie Lord's been pretty impressive up there with crashing packs and creating those opportunities. I feel like Finlayson is just one of those blokes that really has the opportunity to be utilised wherever around the ground. And it does open the door for, say, a Scott Lysette if Dixon doesn't play, and we play that Teakle Lysette combo to combat the Gawn and Grundy situation, which is going to be daunting. It's going to be one of those things where you just look at it and go, well, that's an instant loss. That contest is an instant loss. It's just how you make it a loss. Do you nullify it? Do you go against the grain? Do you look to win it on the ground and really try and utilise what they're doing and be quite defensive in the midfield and counter-attack the best way you can? Or do you just go, we just trust our instincts, we're just going to play the way we play, we've got a good process, we've been very consistent with how Teakle's been playing and in terms of the ruck stocks and how we've been shaping in our forward line, we just stick to the task. And Ken did say that in his presser, that we've been sticking to the task. There's a lot of belief in that at the moment, which is fantastic. But we've been in these positions before where there's been a lot of belief in the system and in the task at hand and just continuing to tick on. I do like the way that we have been winning games. So we're grinding up wins, we've been pumping teams, and we're just finding ways and different avenues to do that. And I think with this game in particular, this is the one I've wanted to win since it's been lined up on the fixture. I say this for multiple reasons. Melbourne has been a team recently that we haven't been very good at. We've lost to them in Alice Springs. We didn't kick a goal against them at the Adelaide Oval last year till the third quarter. And it's just been one of those things where we just haven't had the impact we'd like at home against them. We've lost the last two, and it's just been a very frustrating performance every time we've put out against the D's. It's just not what it's meant to be. Overall, we've played 38 games in total. We're 22-16 on the win-loss ratio. And it's just, they're a top quality team. They're probably one of the best in the league right now. If we can knock them off at home, it gives us a stamping point. It gives us an opportunity to say, hey, contender, Port Adelaide in that bracket. Now, I know I stated a lot of things in that. There wasn't a lot of breathing, and I do apologise for that. But I'm just eager to see what you guys think about this in particular, because would you play Charlie Dixon? Would you want to have him in a position in a wet, heavy ground against a top quality defensive unit, and him, in a demanding position? He's not going to ruck, but he's going to be playing a quality full forward role, leading up, doing different patterns, contesting packs, and really having a massive impact on the contest in general. Or you're going to play the Ollie Lord and Finlayson deep and have Lysette and Teagle combat as a ruck duo to the Gawn and Grundy situation. I think losing Lysette last year really hurt us in terms of that aspect when we played the D's. He was a very good game when he was on the ground for about a quarter and a half, and then he fell away, and so did Port Adelaide. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how it plays out. It's not going to be all won and lost there. It's definitely going to contribute to the result. But the other thing is, the forward line. And down at, the D's end, they're going to have Van Ruin, they're going to have Fritsch. Tom McDonald's going to come in for Harrison Petty, you would assume. They've got Cozzy Pickett down there as well. They've got avenues to goal, which are just so versatile. And that you saw last week they have many an opportunity at goal. So do we. We have, I think, 13 or 14 goal kickers. So it's a combating thing down forward. The one thing as well that's been quite interesting, since 2016, no team has scored over 100 points playing in this corresponding game. So Port v Melbourne, no one's scored 100 points. There's been 190. That was in 2018, I'm pretty sure. But besides that, there hasn't been a team that's hit, hasn't hit that 100 mark. It's all been 80s or 70s or 60s. Last year, it was 60 versus 30 at the Adelaide Oval in the cold, perfect night conditions. Alice Springs, the same game last year, it was, I think, 80 to 70. So there hasn't been some high-scoring affairs you probably expect from these two teams. And, the D's are quality last quarter specialists. Port Adelaide, a very good second and third quarter. And I think it depends maybe on the start for this, because if Port Adelaide start really well, which we haven't of late, we've sort of been coasting into the game, and the D's finish really well. So we have a good solid foundation. We don't necessarily have to win the last quarter, just make sure we're ahead at the end of the game. So getting to my tip. Now, obviously we know the quality midfielders, Oliver, Petrarca versus Rosie, Butters, Boak and Owen Francis, and they're going to have May and Lever down back, and they have a quality unit. We're not going to sell them short. The D's are a very quality unit. They're going to be a big imposer on this game. This is a big scout for Port. If we can get this at home and extend our winning streak to 7, the door opens up for everything this year. It is a scalp. It puts us in the conversation, but it also gives us that belief. And I'm not saying belief of, we can win a game of footy like we have for the last 6. We can win the big game of footy. We can win the big Friday night clash at home. We don't get these too often. We can win this game, and we can really excel ourselves into the belief and confidence of a great team, and push ourselves for what can be a fantastic year ahead. In saying that, I am tipping Port Adelaide. I'm tipping us by 7 points in a nail-biter. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. I have the belief, and somehow I have the feeling that we're going to win this game. Whether or not that occurs, we'll find out. But I want to hear your thoughts and tips, Port fans. Thank you very much for watching, Port fans. I appreciate all the support of late. We're tracking very nicely. The glass table's obviously out as well. Make sure you check that one out. It's 10 years since Port Adelaide first debuted at the MCG with Ken Hinkley, and we won by 70 points. There's a bit of a fun fact for you since that happened back in round 1, 2013. Let's hope something very similar can happen on Friday night. We can get the job done. Thank you for watching. My name's Anthony, and as always, can't pair.